Hi everyone. Good evening in Pakistan. I think it's still morning it is morning in Toronto. And we're here with our regular Thursday evening sessions with Kim Langen, who is the CEO of Spirit of Math. And we've been doing a lot of like really academic sessions. So sometimes we take like a complete detraction and we do sessions on things like how do we bring up children better and what do you do in COVID. But recently, we've also done a lot of academic sessions, which you guys have loved. So today is a really cool session on math contests and why should you enroll for them? What is the point of these contests? Is it just to, put something on your kids' CV, or is there really a point to it? So it's a really fantastic topic, and I know I've been thinking about like enrolling my kids into contests. So I thought it was like a very apt topic. And Spirit of Math runs a global competition, so we can learn more about that. But first, Kim, I want to talk to you a little bit about COVID, since I think Toronto, like Canada, is again going through another lockdown. But in Lahore and in Karachi and Islamabad, Pakistanis are back into public places. Weddings are back to being hundreds of people. You can barely see a mask, even if you try really hard. Everything seems to be going back to normal, whereas countries all around us are really going into panic because of the UK variant and I think the Brazilian variant. Do you think Pakistanis are being like a little delusional by thinking that COVID is a thing of the past?
I do not think COVID is a thing of the past at all. And I think you're going to have a little bit of an interesting time coming up, let's put it that way. They're very concerned about the UK variant and the one from Brazil or Central America, and also the one from South Africa as well. And the reason is that what they found is we've got a couple of those now in Canada, and they are much more virulent. So they're actually telling us now to, well, at least in the United States, they're saying this, to double mask now. In Canada, they're questioning it. I just heard it on the radio on the way in. And some people are recommending that we double mask now. So it's because a single mask this variant is so much more virulent. Like it travels much quicker. And then also when it hits you much harder. So the fact that this, COVID virus is mutating so quickly and is a real concern for people, and this is why we're buckling down. Our numbers are up, but compared to other countries, it's not like it is nowhere close to other countries. But we figure it's bad enough that we're going to be taking care. I'm really surprised that you don't have masks still there. We're doubling up on our masks because we're concerned about this, whereas you're not having any masks. So I think the other thing is that we really want to stop this. We're also very concerned about children, even more now, and because we're realizing that, as much as they may not exhibit any of the symptoms, they are still carriers. And with this new variant, people are very concerned. They want to stop it before it gets too big. So, and it is traveling around the world. And it just is. So how do we stop this? We've started the vaccinations. Our frontline people, our hospital workers, and the elderly care homes that we have, all the people working in there and the people in there are the first to get the vaccinations. But it's going to be a while before everybody gets vaccinations. It's hard getting vaccinations at that scale out. So it's not just just being able to distribute it, it's even getting it, because the whole world, of course, wants all of these. So, and yeah.
Absolutely. But Kim, I'm just going to ask one more question on COVID, and then we can go to maths contest. So Pakistan has opened like senior schools about, I think, the 25th. So about like just a couple of days back, senior schools opened up, and all children, like including my 4-year-old, are expected to be back in school on the 1st. But I know in Canada, it's the opposite. So I remember Spirit of Math went back to physical classes, and now it's gone back online. And I think most schools are also going back online. So, do you feel it's wise to open schools anywhere in the world right now? Or is it much better to just try and get the best out of online?
Okay, that's a big question. I think if you could get kids out, mental health is a huge issue, absolutely huge issue. In every pandemic in history, they've always said that it follows with mental health, major health, mental health concerns, and we're seeing it quite a bit, and even with children. And the toll is quite heavy. And just to get the kids to be with other kids, if they feel that it's safe enough there in Pakistan, I honestly do not know right now in Pakistan what the real situation is. And but if they're feeling that, I know they're very concerned there too. And I don't think they would let the kids back. And I hope they wouldn't let the kids back unless they felt it was really safe enough to do that. So even for the mental health reasons, to get them there for a little while, I know before when we talked about online going back and forth and back and forth, for educational purposes, it's very disruptive for mental health. Kids need to be with other kids their age. They need to run around. They need to have that break. The thing about being online is that you have to be so committed to the online that it's hard to stay there all that time. And you need breaks, and kids need breaks with other kids too. And so I can see that is important. In Ontario, at least, we're worried about our numbers. We're worried about this new variant. And so there's a lot of questions. No one has all the answers. We don't know. And that's the hardest thing. And that's what's so hard on our mental health, is because we're trying to make the right decisions. And we just don't have enough information because there's so much still unknown.
So we have a question from Lubna Hasib, who's saying that she's a paranoid mom and she can't get her head around sending her 5-year-old to school. Do you feel that if others are going to school, is it still wise to keep your child home, or should you just bite the bullet and send them?
If you're worried about safety, don't send them. Bottom line, don't send them. I mean, that's because then you're going to be so stressed because you've sent them. But please make sure that you know what to do to teach them. Get your kids interacting somehow with other kids online, if nothing else, maybe even over the phone, just talking to other kids, running around. Make sure they're laughing a lot every day, that you've got that fun sort of stuff happening. You're doing some physical things that they will laugh with you. You're playing some games with them. And then you do have to make sure that education is happening, because when children are at a young age, I mean, at every age it really does build. At a young age is the foundation. And if they're missing that foundation, they're going to get behind in an exponential way. And that's the concern. And I know you're weighing both. I don't want my kid to get behind, and I'm worried about the safety. So which is more important? Well, when you've got safety, I mean, if you don't have, like, if the child is going to be sick for the rest of their lives, that's not good. At least I wouldn't say so. The other thing about COVID, I think people really have to understand, is it's not the flu. COVID is a disease, and it's affecting everyone differently. And it's about the way that your body reacts. And so, and it is your reaction to something attacking your body. And when bodies are reacting in different ways or in different sequences, it's actually like there's 3 different sequences. And sometimes it affects the first sequence, sometimes it affects the second, sometimes it's the third. And this is what's making this so complicated to try and figure out how to help a person, because everybody is slightly different, and it's able to go in and mimic even our T cells at times. I mean, it's crazy. This virus is able to get in different ways than they've ever seen before, ever. And so that's why, and I'm not here to scare you, it's something different. And that's what's making the mental health so tough. And that's why it's important to laugh and have a good time. Yeah. Have a good time when you can.
Very true. Okay, we have a lot of questions, so let me ask like a couple of quick ones. Yeah, Aisha Khattak is saying, "Oh my God, double masks here! You can't even see single mask." You know what my fear is? That in Pakistan we don't have widespread and excellent medical reporting. Like that's just a fact because obviously we're a third world country. We can't afford COVID testing on everybody who passes away at all. We can't afford widespread COVID testing. There are hundreds and thousands of people who have no access to healthcare facilities. So, we're like completely in the blind when it comes to how bad or how good it is. My fear is that we might be living in a bubble and COVID might be like, slowly eating away at people without us even realizing till it explodes. So let's see. So Nagin's question, which kind of like kind of hints on other people's questions also, like Faiza is saying my kids are very distracted from studies due to these COVID vacations. Mira Fahim is saying kids are not showing interest in online. So the problem is that how do you make online teaching more effective? And if the solution is that the parents have to sit through the classes, then is that even a good solution? Because like that seems to be the only solution, that while the teacher is teaching, the mother is like the assistant teacher.
Yeah, it's one solution, and if that's what is the only way to get your kids through, then it's the only way to get your kids through, and it's not necessarily what we'd all like to hear. I think the real what you need to do is find out, what do my kids need to learn this year? Get that from the schools, figure it out, and then show the kids. Make it clear to them, you need to learn all of this. If we can do this faster, then let's do it faster. If it's going to be slower, it's going to be slower. And the other thing to remember is, if you're finding your child is just really suffering from being online too much, then just tell the teacher, this is too much. We're going to need to go offline for a certain amount of time, and then we'll go online for that other social interaction or some critical lessons that you may have. So can you tell us when those critical lessons are? And I'm going to work with my child on the side for this. And yes, it's going to be a commitment from parents. If you're finding that that's happening. And also it has to be a commitment from the kids too. They need to understand this. It's a difficult conversation for some, because they'll just say, okay. But you've really got to make them aware that, look what you need to learn. I'm in this with you. This is your part. This is my part. This is the school's part. Be clear. And then that way you will take what you need from the school when you need it. Your child will get what they need from you and from the school when they need it. And they also know that they have a responsibility to do a certain amount too. And if they can see that end, and even when you break it down to smaller pieces, like if you show them the whole thing, they might get a little bit like, whoa, this is way too much. Even you may get that way. So then cut it in half, and then cut it in half again. And then what you'll end up with, you won't end up with that. You'll end up with something that is quite a bit smaller. And now all of a sudden you can deal with that. So you check that one off, and then you can do with the next one. You check that one off, and so on. Other, research has also shown that when people do check off and they're showing their progress, that they're much happier too. And so that's another thing for mental health, is show that progress and have a way to evaluate what you've completed. Have a way for the kids to go back to see, oh, that's what I've already done. And even for you as parents, look where we started, look where they are now. Make sure you're seeing it, because otherwise it's going to be constant, oh, we didn't get this done, oh, we didn't get that. And looking at all the problems, there are a lot of progresses happening everywhere. Okay, so should we talk about math contests?
Let's talk about math contests, because I feel this year is a great year for children in Pakistan to take part in global math competitions, because competitions that were never before going global have gone global now, since, thanks to COVID. So why are math competitions important?
Really good question. When you're an athlete and you want to compete, why do they compete? It's because they want to, there's a thrill in trying to see what you can do, to see how you do it compared to other people. And even in athletes, let's say you're a runner, you start with your school and then, oh, you're first place. Well, then you go to a regional and, oh, you're first place. And then you go to a bigger region. And then before you know it, you're at the country level. And then you're at the global level with it, whether it's Olympics or other games. And there's a lot of fun. It also has meaning because you're stretching yourself. And when you are competing, that's a chance. Like if you never did compete, we would very rarely actually stretch. And so even for that alone, it's important. Contests too, and even math contests are supposed to be a fun time as well. It's not supposed to be an assessment time for a child to say, well, I didn't pass or I passed, and then all of a sudden they don't pass their year because of it. It gives you a chance and gives them a chance to enjoy it. There's a lot of kids who enjoy math and they kind of want to do something fun that they enjoy. They don't necessarily enjoy all of the sports and want to do competitive in that way. This is their sport. And as part of that, I think the contest itself, to write the contest is sort of that end, that it's like if you're a runner, it's that meet you went to and you raced, okay, that race. And for the math, but all before that, there is so much work. There's discipline. There's rigor that you learn. You learn how to work hard. You're learning from a coach, and you're learning how to think about things differently. You're learning from other people too, because you want to be really good. And so the same with the contest. It's not just to write a contest. It's everything that goes in before that that is also important, so that kids have something that they're striving to. And so when the contest comes, that's the excitement, and then off you go. The other reason, which is a very critical one and very important for many people, is it does help for assessment in terms of how is my child really doing at a global scale. And in his or her class, they may be doing really well, but is this the level that they're expecting at the global level? So if you've got a child who is high performing and talented in mathematics, then you may want to ensure that they can do these contests. When they start at a young age, it becomes just a norm and they know, yep, I'm fine, and they go in and write it. When they get into high school, universities are looking at the fact that they wrote these contests. And if they got in the honor roll, they're looking at that too. And some universities, like the University of Waterloo, they will look at the contests that they create and for the high school students, and they will, in fact, use that maybe for scholarship, like they do for scholarships, scholarship purposes, because they know that if a child was able to, or a student, a youth, was able to get at that level and won first or second place, then they want that student. And other universities will want them too. It is really important, if you have a high performing student, that they learn how to do contests, that they do write them, that you do it frequently. In the United States, they've got it down to an art in terms of their applications for their colleges and universities. And a big part of it is, here's the contest I wrote, this is the year, and this is the score I got. And they have that as one whole section in their resume. So it actually has other implications. It also allows universities and other schools. So even if you're trying to get into another private school, you can say, look, they wrote this. It allows them to evaluate from an outside source as opposed to an inside source. So that's why they're important. We started Spirit of Math contest for grades 1 through 4, and we did that many years ago. I don't know whether
Even grade 1 takes part in a contest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now the reason
they do it online or they do it physically?
Well, we did it in person for many, many years, and then last year we did the online because of COVID. But we started it for the young children because we wanted them to to get that sense that this is fun, that I can do it, and it's not a scary thing. We found that there weren't contests out for younger children, so we really wanted it to be a fun experience, and for them to sort of go, oh yeah, this is kind of neat. Now what's happened is interesting because schools have picked up on it. We were really just keeping it with our own students, and then other schools said, look, we actually want to write this in our schools, and it allowed them to see, whoa, this is the level that our kids can get to at a young age, and it allows them to set that standard at a young age very early, and then be able to take it from there. So that's why we've done it. We've also added on a grade 5 and 6 contest last year, and it was all online. And this year it also is online. And we've actually, but you see, we're trying to take a different approach, because it's not just to write a contest, like I said. So what we've done is we've created a website. And in that website, what we did was we have practice center, so that students can go in, and there's a free part. They can go in and they can actually practice for their grades. And when they practice for their grade, there's typical types of questions. And then they've got not just the typical kinds of questions, but they've also got the solutions there. And they've got videos, so they can see the thinking that goes behind this. And so when they actually go and write the contest, and there's several contests in there too. If you want, you can actually even add on. You can pay to see all the contests from the past, and you can see other videos. You can see a whole bunch of questions. But I would suggest you look at the solutions just as much as the questions. And when you look at the solutions, it's not just here's the answer. So when I'm saying solutions, it's every single part of the answer. That's a full solution. And so that allows you to apply the information to next questions and to the similar types of questions. So that's why contests are very, very important. And it just allows you as a parent to give your child another way to look at math. And math is such a cool topic, and there are right and wrong answers, and there's different ways to get there. And so how do you get there? And that's the thinking. And so hopefully kids will enjoy that. We've actually done this too. When we're looking at this, and we looked at how can we introduce this differently than just here's the contest. We actually have started even this year because of COVID, contest clubs. And
so what is a contest club? Can you explain that? I saw it, but I wasn't sure what it was.
Okay, so really what happens is the kids, we have a focus on one topic, one area of the world. So before Christmas, we focused on contests from North America. And so the kids got exposure to the different types of contests from North America. And then we will do contests in the next section. In fact, we have someone waiting in the back end who can actually describe some of, or in the backstage, I guess, from here, that they can describe it. We've also got a section that would be for the European types of contests, because they focus on different things. And then another one on Asian contests and South Asian contests, so that kids can see the types of questions, the types of thinking. And they meet every second week. And in between, they practice these contests, and they come back, and the coach is there, and they discuss the different types of questions. And it's not a time to learn the mathematics to the depth. It is more of the time, and it's not a time to build up your skills. That's the classes. This is a time to explore the different types of questions, to sort of go, oh, I didn't think of that before. And you will learn a lot. It's more of, you'll learn a lot in terms of the thinking that's required for the different parts of the world and what is important for the different grades. We also have an elite contest club and a competitive contest club. And this competitive contest club, kids have to apply, and actually around now is when they send something out. And if anyone's interested more in that, I mean, Sarah, who's going to come in, she can describe how to apply to that. But we only pick so many students each year to be part of that competitive contest club. And it is a free contest club, and they have to have achieved a global level, basically. These kids are brilliant, and and the coaches are looking at things that you wouldn't necessarily see till you get to university. It is really cool. So,
Wow. So the contest club is, or do you want to call in Sarah and then she can tell us a little bit more about what are the ages? How can Pakistani students apply? Like Ayesha Khatak wants to know, is there a contest for a third grader?
yes. Okay. So, Sarah, are you there? Let's see if we can get you in. Hey, there you are. Can you just describe, what you're doing with the contest? Now, Sarah also helps. She creates with a team of people. She also creates our contest questions too. So if there's, questions about the questions and how she does, we'll ask you lots of questions here, Sarah. But I think they wanted to start with, what does this look like? What grades? Is there a club for? What grades do you work with these clubs?
Yeah, so first of all, we have 3 contest clubs, and one is a junior club for students in grades 4 to 6. We have an intermediate club for students in grades 7 to 9, and a senior club for students in grades 10 to 12. And as you were saying, Kim, we focus on the North American contest. Right now, we're looking at contests from Asia, and later in the year, we'll move on to contests from Europe. And during the club, students have a chance to interact with like-minded peers and improve their problem-solving abilities through working together on these challenging questions with their teammates and their coach, and learn all these different new strategies or ways of looking at a question that they may not have thought of before. And once you see all these different strategies, you put it in your toolbox, and then you can take it out when you see a question like this again in the future. So this is a great chance for students to gain a lot of exposure to contests and really get a lot of practice into for preparing for them. And the other club you're mentioning, the competitive contest club, we have 3 levels of this as well. So there's the junior is for grades 3 to 5, intermediate is for grades 6 to 8, and senior is for grades 9 to 12. And as you're mentioning, this is a competitive club, and the students in this club, they're really at the top of the world, and they want to improve their skills more so they can do even better in the contest. And to get accepted to this program, students must have either a 92% in their Spirit of Math class or a 95% in their day school math class, as well as 2 honor rolls at least from different math contests that they've written.
And how do people from Pakistan cannot join in because we don't have things like honor rolls and so people from Pakistan, how do they join in?
Yeah, so the honor rolls, different math contests offer this. So if students write the Spirit of Math contest or the Kangaroo Math contest or Caribou Math contest, all these international contests, they have honor rolls for students who place in the top certain percentage of contest writers. So each contest determines it a little bit differently, but each contest does offer these certificates for students who place in the top whatever percent. And you can just send these certificates in when your student or child is applying to this program. And this would help justify that they are a serious contest writer and they're already achieving well in these, and they can develop their skills further in this club.
Okay. So tell me, if a child hasn't done any contest, because there are many in Pakistan who've not done any contest, how do they start?
Yeah, so if you haven't done any contest before, that's okay. Everyone has to start somewhere. And I would recommend that first they join the contest club to gain exposure to all these different types of contests around the world and write some during the year and see how they do. And once you've had a lot of practice with these, then you'll slowly start getting more honor rolls on such contests. And then you would be ready to apply to the competitive club once you've really practiced this quite a bit.
So I was. Oh, okay. I was just wondering if you could perhaps just discuss a little bit, Sarah, about the types of questions and what sort of things should kids be looking for? What things should parents be looking for? How would they study for a contest? You want to just talk about what you think about when you're creating contests?
Yeah. For sure. So the first thing when we're making some math contests is we always have some standard questions, of course. Maybe it's a calculation or something that they've learned in school. If it was the Spirit of Math contest, we might have a pathways question or a pages problem. And these types of questions that students have learned in the school. And every contest has specific questions that they might always put in their contest. So when you're preparing for a contest, of course, you want to practice many past contests from that specific contest and look for those patterns in what contest questions are showing up in every contest, and make sure you know how to solve those ones so that going into the contest, you're already set and you know that you can get maybe 5 questions right just because you've prepared on those specific ones ahead of time. When we're making the contest, of course, we always want to start with the easy questions, the confidence builders, to get students into the contest to start and give them the confidence to keep going. And as we progress through the contest, we start to add more difficult contest questions. And towards the end, we want to have really tough puzzles that it's easy for everyone to understand the question, but only few students can actually solve the question. And that's what a really good puzzle would look like for the end of the contest. And when we're thinking up different questions for the contest, I usually think up different math ideas or concepts that I've come across throughout my life and try and spin it in an interesting and fun way that students would enjoy trying to solve, and think about what skill do I want the student to exemplify when they're solving this question, and write the question in such a way that forces them to use that skill when they're solving it. It's nice always to have maybe a modern theme question or something related to history that we can tie in. So even students who know how to solve everything, they can come out of the contest feeling like they learned something just from the questions that were being asked. I think that's really nice to include in the contest. And when students are preparing for any contest, of course, you always want to go into the contest knowing the details specifically about that contest. So that might be the length of the contest, the number of questions. So you have in your mind a game plan for how you're going to attack the contest, how much time you want to spend in different sections. Can you use a calculator? What is the marking scheme or question format? And these things would help you know how to attack different problems. Maybe it's multiple choice question. In that case, you can think about, are there any options you can eliminate to solve it easier by guessing if you're not really sure how to get to the answer? So having all these ideas in mind before going into the contest would help you have a better mindset when you are writing the contest. And of course, the best thing to do to get ready for any contest, just like a sport, is to practice. The more you practice, the better you would be ready for the contest.
So people are very interested in the Spirit of Math International Contest, which is from grades 1 to 6. So when is the contest? Are there trial papers online? What is the cost? Like, can you give us, is it online, the contest? Can you guide us?
Yeah, I can give you some more information for sure. So the contest is on Friday, February 26th, and anyone can write anytime during the day online on Friday, February 26th. And students will need to register ahead of time for this contest on the contest website, spiritofmathcontest.com. And this website should be live shortly. I don't think it's live quite yet at the moment, but it's almost ready to go. And then students can go on and register for the contest there. You don't need to have a teacher register for you. A parent can register their child as well if their school is not participating in the contest. And to prepare for this contest, there's many practice resources available to you. As Kim was mentioning, we have this Practice Center website. And on here, you can see so many different resources to prepare with.
Oh, sorry, the resources are available right now or not available right now?
The resources are already available, yes. They're on the website practice.spiritofmathcontest.com. And on this website, you can see many instructional videos by Kim on different math topics. There's also quizzes and tests to test your knowledge on these topics. And there's the past 20 years of Spirit of Math contests. If you choose to subscribe to the website, you can see the past 20 years and prepare for the contest by using these papers for all of grades 1 to 6.
I'm just
Sorry, yeah.
I have, I'm just wondering, this is going to be going live either by the end of today or tomorrow. It's really short, like we're just at the cusp of opening it up for this next year, this contest site. And I was wondering if I could share my screen here, and then what I can do is I can show you that site really quickly. How's that?
Yes,
Okay.
sure. And also, if you can guide us that, if someone's interested, I know one of your requirements is a credit card, but if somebody doesn't have a credit card, is there another way to pay, or is that the only way? And what are the charges?
Okay. You know what, I'll show you, I'll share the screen. And the charges, I'm going to need to get someone who can actually put it all up there for this year. I'm sorry, I don't have that. I don't know which screen it's going to share here. I don't know why. Okay, here we go. And there we go. Do you see that now? I'm supposed to be sharing. What are you sharing? Oh, am I sharing the wrong one? There we go. How's that?
We can't see anything.
You can't.
Kim, I think you had it up before in the window it was in before.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. I thought it maybe was in the wrong one. Okay. There we go. So this is basically Stanford Smile is a educational program and app that helps to evaluate students in classes and do collaborative work. And they have joined up with us to help get this contest out there. So you can see for parents, for educators, you can go either place. And if you're an educator and want to do it for your class, then you can go in there. And that's where you would click in. Up here is what I wanted to show you for this practice center. And that's where you go into practice. And for the registration, it's right here. And you can find out all about that. If you need to contact because you do not have a visa, then please click here and send out a note and say, I want to join up. How do I do this? Okay, and then that can be solved with that way. When you go into the practice center, you basically get something like this. And when you go in, you can pick the grade and you can see the different types of questions for the different types of grades. And you can go in and you can have a freebie, like just for each grade, and find out what's the thinking behind it and so on, so that you can see that. Then you can get up to the premium. This is really, it's a monthly fee and you can do as much as you want. You have access to all of the contests, which is what Sarah was talking about. And that gives you more practice and allows you to see what you want for a long time. Okay, and I think that's basically when you go in, you can see those things. So this is basically, make sure that you look up here and you do the different parts of that. Okay, so I just wanted to show that quickly because I know there's a lot we want to talk about, and it hasn't quite been. And I sort of pushed the team here to say, look, we're going to be talking about contests because it's such an important part of kids, and also for when we're all online right now and there's all these other things going on, it's nice to have something for kids to look forward to practice and to do something that's kind of fun, and this is important. So. Okay. Anything else, Sarah, you wanted to say before you go? Because I know you have to leave soon.
I just
Questions about when parents are helping their kids go through these worksheets. Should they be doing a timed practice or should they just initially be helping the kids? And also, are there explanations for why the answer is so, or is there just an answer?
So on the practice site, there's both. So there's practice quizzes where students can try questions of a certain topic, and then if they get it wrong, then a description will show up explaining how to solve the question. And then there's a test that would test your knowledge, and it's right or it's wrong, and it's kind of like how it is in the contest. you would have a chance to choose your answers from the multiple choice and see how you do at the end, but the solutions would not be there. We do also have the practice contests, which are just contests from the past 20 years that students can try out and see. It also marks their work for these questions, and they can see what score they get. And you're able to time yourself if you want to simulate what it's like in a contest and feel the pressure of the time in the contest, but it's not mandatory when you're practicing. Sometimes when you're practicing, you just need to get that extra exposure, and getting through all the questions might be a challenge enough. So you can try that first, but once you're confident with those types of questions, then for sure you should time yourself so you can experience it like it would be in the contest.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Sarah. I think when you are practicing and when the kids are practicing, it's something to remember. It's okay if they get something wrong. It's not okay if you don't follow up with it, and make it a fun time. And it is kind of, it may be that you actually just give a certain amount of time for the first couple of questions, and then you give a certain amount of time for the next 5 questions or so on. So it doesn't feel like I have to put a whole half hour, 45 minutes into this. I mean, that's a lot of time to say, okay, now go. So break it up. You don't need to do one contest after another. The other thing to do that I would suggest is that when you're looking at the contests, I wrote these contests for many years too, and when we're preparing and creating contests, the very first 5 are easy ones, easy questions. And so if you want just to get the kids in and get used to it, just focus on the beginning. And if they're not ready for the final part, at least get them to do the beginning questions. And then it also allows you, I think as a parent, which is very important right now, it allows you that ability to assess for that first half, do my kids have the skills to be able to enter into these questions? Because they should be able to. I know for Spirit of Math, we have made it so it is a global ideas for that first half of the contest. The average child should be able to answer them all. And if they can't, that allows you as a parent for an assessment to know, okay, there's more that my child needs to learn, okay? And you may want to just focus on that first half, and the second half, if they get that, bonus. If you have a high-performing child who is at the top of their class and they're striving for further, they should be able to do like 98% of it. For the younger grades, we've made it so that it is appropriate for high-performing to get those high marks and to get into the honor roll. So they should be able to get into the honor roll. And honor roll is really 80% and above for us. And other contests use honor rolls differently. But your high-performing students should be able to at least get in there. And then whether they get the top mark, the global mark, is something different. The other thing I would say, too, because when you're doing contests online, the key is don't help your kids, because they will know at the end. They're the ones who have to live with the fact that someone actually helped them and they didn't earn it on their own and they cheated. And everyone knows when you cheat a little bit, it's kind of something in you that you live with for the rest of your lives. It's okay if they don't do as well as what you want or they want. And also don't get out after them if they don't do well. Just say, look, you did it. Good for you. You've done, and that experience in itself, now oh, wow, this is the level that other kids are working at. If you want to reach that level for next year, now we can work on it. We have a year to work on this. So let's start work. And then you get it so the child wants to work on it, and then they'll study too. Okay. So thank you very much, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Okay, so Kim, we have a couple of questions about when it comes to preparing for these contests, given that we have, let's say, if like moms target the Spirit of Math contest, we have like just a month left. So how do you prepare for this? Do you teach them an hour a day? What's the minimum time? Do you gradually build it up?
I would do, if you're really serious about it, yes, an hour a day at least. Okay. And for older kids, this is for younger kids, older kids, you want to do even more than that. if they're really serious about it. The kids who are serious about this, they love doing it. So it's not a chore. They're actually enjoying this. So, so what I would do is look at what the seriousness is for your child. And if you want them to be able to compete and at least pass the contest, because contests are even tough to pass at times, especially if you're not used to that before, then yeah, get as many contest questions as you can and pass contests and start working on the very first, like I said, 5 to 10 questions. Make sure they can do those types of questions first. And then once you know, yes, they're really strong that way, then go back and do the contest again. Look at those middle questions and then make sure they can do those and then look at the final questions. I also recommend that you keep a couple of contests off to the side the kids haven't seen. And then when they practice at the end, after you know you've developed their skills, you've introduced them to the type of thinking and so on, then you can get to those other contests and that you haven't done. And you say, okay, now let's do one. And let's just see how you do for fun. And, oh, way to go, you got these. Oh, which ones did you get wrong? Let's find out what you did. Okay, and again, always be positive about it. And if they get something wrong, you talk to your child with an interest as opposed to what did you do wrong. Is more of, oh, why? Like, what's going on here? And then that interest will come out from the kids and they'll want to do more too. Okay.
So thank you so much, Kim. I think this is so fantastic. I know I'm going to register my kids. Okay, so your team just told me that it's only 700 rupees per child, which is like amazing as a price. So I wish you also had one for like 4-year-olds. I would have registered Sharon, but I think this is fantastic. Once the registration link is up, everybody who's watching, I'll put that up on Scary Ammi to make it like super simple. And like Kim said, if you don't have a credit card, which I know some women don't have, you could just inbox them and then they like tell you another way to pay, because I know that they have a Lahore office, so maybe, but whatever way, like they'll explain the way. But this is fantastic. So it's 700 rupees for the contest, and then there's a separate monthly fee for the website.
Yeah, if they want to do more and have that whole learning center, we have a couple of free things there. And if you really want to dig down and you're serious about it, there is a monthly fee and you can join up for as long as you want. And so that gives you that access to a whole bunch of other resources. Okay, and yes, we do have someone, a couple of people in Lahore, and we could, if need be, get the funds directly from you, or we'll figure out a way. It's just we have to figure it out. Okay.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much. I know a lot of moms are excited to sign their kids up, and I think for many it will be like their first ever contest, which is like a great starting point. That at least they'll start, and then they can, maybe do well enough to become part of your club. So thank you, Kim, once again for taking our time. It was great. And I'm looking forward to registering my kids.
Great. Okay. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next week again.
Yes.
Okay. Take care. And thank you, everybody, for being here.